everybody. Welcome. We're so excited to be here. My name is Robyn MacNair. I am the coordinator of Visual and Performing Arts for Santa Ana Unified School District. And I'm so excited to be here to present to you Mr. Walter Scott. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, Walter?
Yeah, we're going to keep it real quick and simple. My name is Walter Enrique Scott III. I come from an African-American and Mexican household. I'm 18. Like to consider myself a pretty seasoned photographer, cinematographer, editor, basically anything that works in that field.
He is
I'm
an
eating
artist.
Velveeta, so I'm a little hungry, but we're here to have a good time today. So
Yeah, so we're going to snack and talk.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're snacking and talking right along with us, keeping this real. What we want to do to talk today is talk about our story. How did Walter and Robyn end up here today? We really want to address these really important questions. Why does creativity matter? And what happens when students, administrators, and teachers collaborate? And what actions can we take? So Walter and I have really worked together to try to figure out something we hope we will find useful in our story that we're going to share with you today.
Let's dive into it. I'm excited.
Me too, because Walter has a great story.
Yeah.
So let's tell you a little bit about Santa Ana Unified School District. What you see up here is projected some statistics, but Walter, tell us about your experience as a student in Santa Ana Unified.
Sure. Well, right off the bat, I didn't belong to Santa Ana Unified School District, through the early stages of my, education. I came from a Catholic school. My siblings had gone through the process of going through public school within Santa Ana, and it was amazing to watch, as a younger sibling, because you see the great people that they meet, the great experiences that they get to, for lack of better terms, experience. And for the most part, it just looked like a great environment to be around. The people that, had overseen their successes were people that were ready to tackle me when I got there. So I was super excited to, get started with that community, get started with that type of family environment.
Because we are a very large urban
definitely
school district.
Inner city based,
in the heart of Orange
yeah.
County. Those kids that are sort of sometimes considered the other side of the tracks, right? So we do some great work, and I see some of our friends in the audience are saying hello. Thanks for being here to support us. We really appreciate you being here. So let's get started to talk about what our goals are for what we had envisioned for our district,
right,
and how you got involved. So we started really having a focus on, we want kids to be able to go know that they can pursue college and career in the arts, right? Mm-hmm. That parents sometimes are concerned about supporting their kids in their artistic endeavors because they don't know. And then we really have been trying to build community through the arts and in the arts, and then also really work with advocacy.
Absolutely.
And that's where we partnered up with CreateCA California, who has really supported us in some incredible work that we started last year that, thanks to you, has really taken off, and we're going to keep building it. Mm-hmm. So Walter, just for everyone's knowledge, is a recent alumni of Santa Ana Unified. What are you doing right now in your educational studies?
Well, general ed, if I'm being honest, but my pursuit, my intended major is going to be MCJ. That's short for Media Communication and Journalism. Kind of piggyback riding off of what you said earlier. Our goal initially was to make sure that kids understood, well, not generally kids, but, people understood how you could pursue the arts as a career. And initially, that's not what I envisioned for myself at all. You can definitely tell everybody how I kind of just fell into this position, how both of us kind of just randomly fell into the position, but we're better for it.
Absolutely.
And, for me to pursue something that I enjoy doing on a regular basis, where I would never consider it a job, to say the least. That's something that I would wish on anybody watching, anybody not watching.
Yeah, that's why we're here, to help encourage people to do that.
Absolutely.
So you're a freshman at what?
Fresno State.
Fresno State, yeah. Good for you, Walter. And And we're excited.
I was gonna say Zoom University because everything's online, but I don't know if that many people would have gotten the joke. So,
Zoom University.
Zoom University.
I think we all feel that way. You guys are all out there in Zoom University land. Thanks for being here with us. So a little over a year ago, we started this journey where we were talking about revising our visual and performing arts strategic plan for our school district, being the administrator and overseeing those programs and working with our amazing arts educators. I was posed the question of what would students do? What would they activate around? What do you think, Robyn? What would they want? And I said, you know what? Let's ask them. So we created a forum, and you were there at the first forum.
Yep.
And we had this whole thing where we showed you data. We looked at some of the information around what it looks like in Santa Ana Unified. We looked at California data.
Yeah.
We talked about things like kids in Ohio are accessing the jobs in California and the creative industries that our kids in the state of California
should be getting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in that day?
Yeah. I'm gonna let you know from the get-go that my initial release into that kind of environment wasn't on purpose. I went on the sole base that my teacher said you will be excused as a field trip and that you will be fed. So not the best way to go about doing it, but that's how I did it. And I was enlightened because of it. I, went there very naive, very just thinking that I knew everything, that, it was just going to be a experience, to say the least. But it was enlightenment, to, be quite frank with you, because you look at the data, you analyze the data, and it's alarming of how weak we are compared to a lot of other states, and how lackluster the districts within California, not taking shots, but predominantly Santa Ana, have, I don't want to use the word, but fail to provide that type of equity for the students. So
it is cool to note that also working with CreateCA California, our district did adopt a resolution as an equity and arts learning district. Right. So we're not using the students, we're working with students to surface what that looks like and what that means, right? So we'd like to share this quick video that just gives an overview of the work that we started. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit play here. So hopefully you'll see this at home. Can we hear the sound? Oh, there we go. Technology, gotta love it. Well, maybe what we can do is narrate it. Is it me?
Hi, Robyn. Hi, Valeria.
Are there any questions? What's happening? I don't know why it's not sharing.
I only see one comment.
Okay. Huh.
To whoever used the Will Smith profile, Alyssa Anthony, I love it. I was laughing at that for like a solid 5 minutes before we started.
Shoot, I don't know why the sound isn't happening. So, oh well. Well, we'll have it play in the background while we talk it through. I'm gonna hit the present again. So what we're doing here is we're looking at the data, right? And this is when we brought a whole bunch of people together, and then here's students that are speaking out and saying that why they think the arts are important. And what's important about this is that, whoops, there we go again. Sorry, everybody. This is live. Thanks, Walter. We're doing this live. So we're being in the moment and experiencing what, the nerves that happen and all of this. You can see everybody was having a really good time. Going back to that, we created some advocacy posters. We had a big festival called Boca de Oro. Yeah. We had some posters going on down there. We had students talking about why it's important. And at the end of this, you're speaking. Tell us a little bit about what you said in this video and that got you started to becoming a spokesperson for the arts, for arts advocacy, and what's made you an activist.
Definitely. The big kind of, gist of what I was saying in that interview was basically how you can utilize your God-given gifts and talents. And if they're not God-given, the ones that you developed yourself, the ones that you put in the work behind to impact your community in a positive way. For me, I did that with the means of photography. being able to share and expose my my environment to the world, to media, to anything that or anybody that would watch or listen, is definitely how I thought I could give my biggest contribution. Obviously, we're here like months later speaking on how everybody deserves a chance to get a chance, basically deserves a chance to get a chance. I know that sounds a little odd of like the way I worded it, but it makes sense in the fact that if you're not provided that type of education, you're already at a disadvantage within the field that you want to go into via, anything in the media, anything art, or just anything in general, like engineering, arts, and, equity within the arts is just so important because you can get so much out of it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just, being able to pick up a paintbrush or being able to click a camera.
And I think that's what in our video, a lot of the students were saying was their grades got better when they were in the arts. They found a community and a space for stress, that they realized, wow, we can actually pursue our dreams and have a career and feel like we're not working.
Big time.
Right? And you found yourself in that position to be able to share your story in that way too, which does speak, why does creativity matter? Why is that so important?
Absolutely. I actually want to hear that from your perspective because you are an educator. You see it, firsthand what it does for students. So as an educator, I ask you, what do you see from your students? Do you see improvement? Do you see a blossom in their ability to want to learn? Like, what do you see?
Well, creativity matters, right, on so many levels. And I think the number one commodity that industries are looking for, whether you're in a creative industry or whether you're pursuing what we consider a non-creative career, like a doctor, a lawyer, or a scientist, we need those creative fluencies and capacities to be able to thrive and be innovative. Yeah. Like our number one thing is being innovative, and making creativity is not something that you have to rely on to be able to innovate.
Absolutely.
Sorry, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get it. I know it kind of blocked up, right? But it makes total sense. Yeah. Because it's essential.
It's essential, and that's why we've adopted that hashtag. Creativity is not optional. So this was another video that we had. We're not going to show it, but I would like to speak to how then, since that original time we came together, we looked at the data. You were part of our district's Visual Performing Arts Strategic Plan revision, where we had 5 years in, and it's a whole new ballgame now, and looking 5 years ahead. Just even now, you're sitting home. Education has changed so much just in 6 months. So what's it going to be like now moving forward? What are industries looking like? Artists are having to pivot all over the place. Creative activities and like the theater as we knew it, going to concerts and all kinds of events, they're different now. People have been really creative on how to still keep us together as a community and connected in our humanity through the arts. And the artists have really stepped up. They've been known as the second responders during this time. And then you have activated and started speaking out and come up with these activism ideas. And I think that ties to this part. Oh, yeah. You came up with this educate, create, motivate. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, and thanks to a couple of my gym friends, being Harvey and Joe, we came up with this, 3-line tag because it's real, it's authentic, it's organic, it's realistic in the fact that it's something that can be followed and understood by anybody. I know for myself, I don't like reading instructions when I'm trying to put something together, but I like to have guidelines in terms of how I should move and where I would be if I were to follow those guidelines correctly. So when we came up with this educate, create, motivate, education came first because that's something that, is instilled upon anybody. You can be educated any way possible as long as you look for it. All you have to do is listen. That's how you're educated. You can educate, obviously, but in order to educate, you need to be educated. And so I feel like that's like the base level fundamental, you know, rock for all of it, because you can't learn to press out information. You can't learn to influence correctly unless you are educated properly. Create kind of stands for the artisans of society, whether that's, you know, through an actual paintbrush, through the back of a lens, you know, any way that you want a dancer, a athlete, anything that you seek artistry in or you find creativity within, do it. That's how you display a message. That's how you convey a message. You know, that's how others understand and see something or hear something. You know, creating music, creating a podcast. You're creating that's influencing in the proper way. And that kind of slides into motivate. Because at the end of the day, if there isn't somebody behind you that is able to use that information and be successful from it, then what you've done up until that point has been selfish. Because the people behind you need to be as successful and better than you are. You know, Kobe Bryant was one of those people that really helped push that type of message, because he shared his talent, he shared his knowledge with a lot of different athletes and artists. You know, for someone to be as versatile as he was, it's something that not only do I aim to be, but I want, you know, my nieces and nephews and my, you know, eventually, if I'm able to get to that point, grandchildren, to instill upon them, to make sure that they get it. And at the end of the day, that's why we're doing this. Yeah. That's what we want to do. We want to motivate people to get up and, you know, do something about what you're seeing. CreateCA California does that, you know, tackles that agenda really, really well. And so does SAUSD. And that's right now the grid. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you reminded me too, when you talked about artisans and thinking like that, that speaks to why is it important to be creative? Why does creativity matter? Because we have to think like an artisan. We need non-routine workers.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So that also speaks to what actions can we take, right? So what? Sorry, I'm going to go back to that. What are some of the things that we can tell people who've spent this time with us? What can we encourage them to do to get inspired, take action, talk to your administrators, talk to your teachers, start a movement in your district, whether it's become an equity and arts learning district, looking at what some of the data is and see how we can activate a campaign to make more things happen and create more opportunities for each other and our kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we said earlier, use that guideline, use that the educate, create, motivate guideline. That's a start. It's definitely something that you can look at and continue going forward with. But in terms of what they can do, start.
And say yes. So even though you said...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Just say yes. Just go.
Even though you said yes, what you're saying is the wrong reasons. Clearly your teacher saw something in you who invited you to participate. And you said yes. And I think that's an important part of when these opportunities come to us. We need to say yes. We may not know. And we talked about this idea of faithy. We have Walter and I have an understanding about faithy. We just sort of say yes.
Just go for it. Yeah, just jump.
And we go for it. And now, thanks to Walter and many of the other people in our district, we have a newly revised strategic arts plan. We have students that are activated to think about and have college and career pathways. We're expanding opportunities so that there's pipelines right into our creative capital. So I think, Walter, we're coming up on our time. And I just want to encourage everybody to sign up, take the pledge. Even if you just do that, that's a little small thing that you could be doing to say arts education matters, the arts are important, and we can support the arts out there everywhere. Thanks so much for spending this time. I really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, guys.